Several comments. Tough, hard-fought Big Ten win. Out of respect for our opponent, our players do too, certainly after that game. Champions on defense were Mike Hill, Jalen Holmes, Draymond, Taekwon, and then in the backhand, Marshawn and Malik Cooper. Honorable mention, and then player of the game was Grant Conley. On offense, we had JT graded the champion. Mike Weber played really, really hard. Graded the champion as well. Three receivers, best blocking performance we've had downfield. Curtis Samuel, KJ Hill, and Paris Campbell. Offensive line, 3 of the 5. It's great to see Isaiah bounce back. Had a very good game. Jamarco Jones and Pat Elfline. And co-players of the game on offense were Noah Brown and Billy Price. Noah played exceptionally hard. Special teams player of the week was Eric Lever-Williams. Primetime game against Nebraska. Very good team. Really impressed with our conference, with the quality of play, players and teams we were playing. And these guys are really good. So I'll answer your questions for you.
Front row, middle, Dave.
Coach, I want to ask you about Malcolm Pridgeon. He was a guy that I think you guys were counting on entering the season. Is there any chance he's going to be able to come back this year? Is his season over?
He's moving around. I think we're going to for bowl practice or something, but he won't play this year.
And I know you said after the game, Paris Campbell sprained his ankle. Is there any update there?
It's high, but he's questionable this week, but it's much better than we thought.
Front row right, Austin.
Urban, I know that the last 2 weeks probably have not been the best performances that you've had or what you had in mind, but have you ever had teams when you're dealing with some of the young players where they just go in this straight line and every week, every performance is better than the last one? Does that ever happen?
Oh, every performance is better than the other one.
I just mean I'm sure you're frustrated, but also maybe you anticipate that there's going to be some rough patches.
Sure, of course it is. I think 14, just thinking back, the young teams, 14, and I would keep putting everybody in that category. But 14 was a team that, we had a double overtime win, and we didn't play exceptionally well that game, and that's just college football right now too. So I guess I'm not normally like this, but I see a lot of positives from our teams because I know what we're playing, and I know these young guys, and they are getting better because I see it from maybe a different angle and viewpoint than a lot of the people. So I do see some very good positives. I like the fact that you get in a street fight and you win it, and that's a good sign of the future is very bright here. We have really 2 seniors playing, Pat and Taekwon's not. He's got another year, and Dontre. And that's you got a bunch of young cats going and swinging hard and practicing hard, and so I guess I'm much more positive. Do I wish that we were at 56 points and all those kind of things? Sure, but we're a work in progress.
Maybe
unfair. And I got to make this clear too. A lot of it's the quality opponent. I know they maybe didn't start with the season very well, but they held Indiana and Michigan State to very low rushing totals and very good, much improved defense.
And maybe it sounds too harsh to call them growing pains, but when a young player encounters them, how do you coach them out of it? What is the key to getting past that plateau?
That's the essence of our job. Great question. Every player is different. Every team's different. Now we got the wear and tear because the bye week was so early, so you have to be very cautious of that. You're week and entering week 9 and 10 of the season with a little some depth issues. So that's the essence. Take a couple hours to have that conversation about who we are as a team and who the individuals are that we have to coach through growing pains like this. I don't think growing pains is part of the way it is. Every school in the country is dealing with it. I will say this too, that it's very fragile. You just go home at night, sink into that chair, and you watch TV, and you're like, ooh, that team lost. That team, it happens. It's very fragile. Just got to keep swinging one game at a time, one quarter at a time to play.
Front row right, Bill.
Yeah, kind of building on that question. I asked you on Saturday whether this team is ready for the pursuit of championships in November. I mean, how good do you feel about that right now?
I'd be disappointed if that was even brought up anywhere around here. It's just we know we are. We got two tackles with some their ankles are going to be fine, but they got 2 sprained ankles during the course of the game. So we're just teams don't think that way. I really, let's get it, when we just flip the film on the team that's, I think they're still ranked in the top 10, I'm not sure. They are a top 10 team. They play like it, they look like it, and that's the only concern.
And you, in regards to Austin's question, you seem pretty optimistic. You like behind the scenes what you see. What specifically do you like?
I'm just a big fan of work ethic, high character people that go to work, understand where we are, understand we're not as explosive as maybe we'd like to be. We're not as tight on coverage as we were earlier in the year, and let's fix it, as opposed to, whatever. And enjoy the damn win, had victory meal last night, and go about our business.
Would you have been like this 5 years ago?
And like what?
This attitude?
Far right over here, Clay.
I guess
5 years ago, what was that?
Well,
I guess it's kind of more the psychological stuff. When your season's on the brink, so to speak, if a loss can end a lot of things for you, how do you keep a team in the moment? How do you keep them? I guess you keep them away from us.
These are great questions, and it depends on the team, depends on the individual. I got a leader, a quarterback, so those are all great questions. The conversation around this facility and all focus is on the next game, on the next, and that might sound coach speak, it is, and that's the way it is. And that's what I like about these guys. Pat Elflein's not coming here and they talking about, hey, tell me about the college football playoffs and the rankings coming out. And that conversation, I'm sure, is everywhere else. But in here, especially with the guys playing, the focus is on playing a very good team.
Second row left, Ari.
Urban, you just mentioned that Noah Brown played a really good game for you guys. What do you like about the way he's playing so far this year? And
He's just a tough guy, man. He did you guys see the key draw, the last 35-yard run? He got two people on the ground, got the corner down, hit the safety. 3 plays before that, he had man underneath coverage, and they were basically double teaming him, and he came free on a corner route and made the play to move the chains. So, just a tough guy, tough, hard-nosed player, very consistent with his ball skills, and just a tough guy. I just love being around him, and I think he's playing well.
This is your guys' first major recruiting weekend, night game. And I was wondering, every year in your guys' recruiting classes, there seems to be 1 or 2 players that emerges as a leader in that group, helping you guys, like at least publicly recruit on the internet and on social media. I was just wondering, to have a guy or one of the guys that's a leader in that class be on his official visit the same weekend as some of your major targets, how important is that from a leadership recruiting aspect to have somebody that's already committed in your class who's outwardly?
I think the obvious answer is it's essential. I mean, nowadays with all the group chats and we actually would really have those conversations in the spring where we're putting classes together. Who's the bell cow? Who's the king? Who's the guy that's going to be run those? That's where Pantoni's so good at. Mark Pantoni does a good job. But we recognize that. They a lot of times end up being the leaders on your team as well. They have that characteristic. So those are very important.
Front row left, Mitch.
Harris has emerged as one of the go-to important guys in this offense. How's it going to change things if he can't go?
We'll just be down one less player, and someone's getting. Ben Victor's getting so close. We just kind of getting pushing to the hump. And that, James Clark and Terry McClellan are going to step up and play.
Far left there, Ralph.
Urban, I want to ask you about Curtis Samuel. When you recruit him out of Brooklyn, in a very different place from Columbus, what in his personality, I guess, would be the thing that made you confident that he could make this transition to Ohio State, to Columbus, to a place very different than home?
Very unique place, Brooklyn. I actually love Brooklyn. I love the delis there. Love the people. His high school coach is a very good friend of ours. He kind of patterns his program after ours, and Danny Lamberg's his name. And you meet Curtis as mom and dad, you're going to find out what you're going to get. And it's a wonderful kid that takes his academics very seriously, very clean lifestyle, and a talented guy. So there was no doubt once you got to know his whole who surrounded him.
If I can just ask one follow-up. I know there's a lot of talk around here about getting him the ball more.
Let me make it clear that I've been places, been at times where there's no one to get the ball to, so we're good. Ask all you want.
Well, I guess I would say, you know, he seems perfectly fit for the role that you
Perfect.
have him in. I imagine that's the reason why you wanted him here. Are you still trying to feel ways of like you get to the fourth quarter and go, man, we've only had like 8 touches for this guy?
Not as much this year. I've done that in the past, but we certainly script plays with the idea of getting them to 15, whatever it is. But 15 is kind of the number or more.
This front row left, Doug?
The Northwestern's best receiver in that
You
game?
asked me the other day if you're being fair. Remember that?
I did.
Are you?
Am I being fair to you?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that this weekend. I'm very
Can I
conflicted.
sit? We'll switch spots.
I mean, we can go sit. I have a lot of internal feelings about this as well.
No.
Wow.
This is good.
Northwestern's best receiver, was he in the slot a lot in that game? I don't know if you guys maybe, do you just cover the slot guy with your slot
Well,
corner?
we
or is
got
there
caught
an
in
adjustment you
the
can
two or three that got us for outside leverage, and man free outside leverage, and we did a nice job on stem of Rouseberg behind him, and he made some plays.
make? Is there, I mean, do you play your defense and you play your defense, or sometimes do you want to?
Adjust, and those are conversations our coaches are having.
Okay, and when you see a team and a coach like Mike Riley at Nebraska, and you've been through this, you go to a new place, to see what they've done from last year, they had a lot of close losses, didn't have the year they wanted to have, and to see them where Nebraska is right now, when you look at that Nebraska team, what do you think of what they've done from last year to this year?
Well, I know Mike very well. I've known him for a long, long time. We're friends, and I think he's one of the great coaches. And I'm not surprised. First of all, they have very good players. The previous staff loaded them up really good, so we knew that because Coach Blaney did a good job recruiting, and it's Nebraska. So he's utilizing his talent very well. Not surprised. They were, I didn't study because we didn't play him last year, but they were very close to having a great year. A couple really close losses.
Fourth row right, Nick?
You changed Brandon Bowen's number for next week to make him an eligible receiver. Do you expect to continue to do that?
Yeah, we're looking at him at post routes. He's just, we had a couple injuries at the tight end position, and he's a guy that's really earned some playing time, so I anticipate that he can't catch, by the way. But he played pretty good in that game.
When you look at the structure of the Big Ten now, when you look at the teams that are in the middle, is it just tougher to win because those teams are better than they used to be?
I think that's a very good assessment of, I can speak on, just even watching the film of the teams we don't play. And, I'd be curious, I had time to, but I bet our out of season or out of conference record is pretty good because I'm just seeing a lot of good football teams in our conference now.
And final set of questions, front row, Tim?
Yeah, Urban, number one, did you see emerging stuff in the downfield passing game in this game that encouraged you? I mean, just what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the team we played they played soft enough that forced it. That's why you saw a lot of the intermediate stuff that we started the game. And, JT I thought played really well. Certainly the first 3 drives and the last few drives were fantastic. But I am seeing improvement. We're not as explosive as we have been.
Yeah.
And is it the receiver's fault? No, is it because James Clark came clean? We missed him on a deep ball.
Do you see that coming?
I do see it coming.
Yeah. And what's the encouraging side? That there are some shots that almost.
We have talented guys, and
Yeah.
in practice we see them improving. And like anything, it takes, throwing the football is timing. We're seeing a lot of press coverage, and when you separate from press, it's got to be an accurate throw. And we got to protect the quarterback, so it's all through. That's nothing new. That's just the essence of throwing the ball.
2 other quickies. Number one, number 25 on Nebraska, their safety seems to be a really active,
Great player. Yeah.
get after guy. What just jumps out at you about him?
Fast, tough. Tim was telling us about him. He's going to be an adequate. I got our star report on him as far as he's going to draftable player, very draftable player, and just real fast and physical.
And you're talking about the focus on the here and now, this week, this quarter, this game. Yet the first college football playoff rankings come out Tuesday. It will give you an assessment of at least what people are thinking about you, right? I mean,
in your mind, how important is that first set of rankings to know whether you're in the picture?
Oh, it's important, not for us, it's important. I won't look at it, I'm sure people will tell me about it, including my person of 27 years of marriage will tell me about it when I get home. It's not gonna change the way we work, and I'm sure we'll be somewhere around there, but we gotta improve and play well Saturday against a very good team.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.